You are listening to a series of 10 podcasts on the foundations of American government and politics, presented by Citizen U. Episode 9. Describe the evolution of civil rights in American society. When looking at our foundations, liberty was not the only promise made during our revolution. Equality as well was an essential feature of our unique American experiment. Our record in extending equality to all has been, as some have written, our American dilemma. Defending equality almost tore us apart during the American Civil War. But as Lincoln wrote in his Gettysburg Address, we fought for a new birth of freedom. We continue to fight. Our form of democratic republicanism upholds majority rule while putting in place protections for minority rights. The Civil Rights Movement heralded the rights of women and African Americans. Subsequently, it was extended to Latinos. Today, such civil rights are being waged on behalf of the LGBT community. Federalism often delays and complicates the extension of civil rights. A limited government like ours is not fitted to make dramatic changes in a hurry. We can learn from the civil rights movements of the past on how best to pursue even greater equality in our future. African Americans following the Civil War found much of America to be unwelcoming. Grateful for their freedom, but Jim Crow laws segregated and relegated them to second-class citizens. Work was difficult to find. They were not permitted to join in society as equal partners. Even the United States Supreme Court ruled in Plessy v. Ferguson, 1896, that separate but equal was a tenable standard. De jure segregation, that is, segregation by law, was indeed constitutional. The early civil rights movement saw the courts as their battleground. Through litigation, civil rights attorneys could argue their case in court. Their greatest victory came in 1954 in the case Brown v. Board of Education. Brown overturned the Plessy precedent by ruling that separate was not equal. Schools could no longer segregate on the basis of race. This landmark decision set in motion an end to de jure segregation. The law of the land would no longer permit a racially divided society. Its rationale was found in the Due Process and Equal Protection Clauses of the 14th Amendment. The national government was flexing its authority over the states. With the courts solidly behind them, the civil rights movement turned to Congress. Political pressure combined with a heavy dose of personal courage helped to pass the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965. These historic pieces of legislation extended equality even further. Segregation, discrimination, and prejudice would no longer be accepted. Voting rights would be protected. Rules to suppress black political participation, like literacy tests, were outlawed. America was moving closer to its promise of equality for all. Affirmative action programs were put in place to offer racial minorities a chance to catch up for past discrimination. This preferential treatment has not gone unnoticed. The civil rights movement continues as the fight for equality is not over. African Americans were not the only marginalized groups to win political victories in the wake of the civil rights movement. One of the more notable victories occurred for women with Title IX of the Education Amendments of 1972. This prohibited any form of discrimination on the basis of gender in any education program or activity. Today, any program or activity that continues to discriminate must pass the strict scrutiny test. On occasion, our Supreme Court allows for instances of discrimination. For instance, women have usually been held out of direct combat roles when serving in the military. Such discrimination has been permitted using the strict scrutiny test. Increasingly, our judiciary has been asked to extend due process not only procedurally, but substantively as well. Procedural due process assures fair and impartial treatment. Substantive due process empowers the court to identify those private choices that are beyond government restriction. Future civil rights victories rest in the court, protecting these substantive rights. You have been listening to a series of 10 podcasts on the foundations of American government and politics, presented by Citizen U.